You know you want another guard on this basketball team. You know you do. Tell the truth, everybody. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers podcast, live from the Xfinity studio, along with Derek and Kyle. I'm Devon Bree, the president of basketball operations. All of you guard fans, this show is for you. If you want a wing or a big, maybe you're like,
get the heck out.
Exactly. But we are here with you on this Friday to discuss just that. What if the best player available on the board is a guard, and you have to look at the talented guard because you don't have any guards outside of Tyrese, Maxey, and VJ Edgecombe, and you have to look at the guards that are remaining left on the big board. We are presented by Rothman Orthopedics. Visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to learn more. Don't go jumping off any roofs or anything just because they draft a guard. You need guard help on this roster, everybody. We'll get to the big takeaway a little bit later. We'll tell you about some things here happening at PHLY as we gear up for World Cup, everybody. Yes, it's starting off here.
Devon is soccered up.
I'm soccered up. My Cape Verde people. I think we're starting in Boston or something. I don't know. But hey,
in Boston.
I know. I don't like them either. But that we got some World Cup stuff. Obviously, our draft party we want to tell you about, and the PHLY Phillies tailgate that's going to be taking place next weekend, the weekend of Father's Day. So stay tuned for all of that information. Some news and notes a little bit later as well. But we have to start off with some guards. We did our mock draft on Thursday. If you missed that one, check it out. If you missed some of the other things like trading up, trading down, those shows, you can check those out this weekend. Tell everybody else that they're there so they can watch those as well. But today, it's about the guards. And that's where we are going to start this afternoon, talking about 5 guards in the range of 22, maybe a little bit earlier, but they could they fall to the Sixers at 22, which would make Mike Gansey, Jameer Nelson, and company really think about some things at 22 with some other big men, maybe some wings that are on the board. So as we focus on these guards, let's start off with, since we have so many, let's get to the guard. First of all, ask the guys, how do you feel about, I already know your height test, Kyle, and a lot of these guys don't pass the height test.
No.
But your overall thinking of this particular spot, how you would look at guards if they are there on the board, that BPA.
Well, so number one, it's a very deep guard class. Like the lottery is filled with a bunch of guards of different types and strengths and skill sets. And the natural product of that is there will probably be 1 or 2 that end up falling into the Sixers range. And so the way I want to open today's show is to talk about another draft decision the Sixers made, which was Jared McCain a couple years back. I know. Sorry, trigger warning. It's a sensitive subject for everybody. But a lot of you who are regular listeners will remember that on draft night, while we like Jared McCain, the prospect, we're very confused by the idea of how do you add another guard, and a guard who we didn't think fit with Tyrese Maxey to the roster, when there are other options available that are cleaner fits, similar talent bets, etc. And what ends up happening over time is that because McCain was a better value selection at that pick, despite the fact that he had a really rocky start to his second year in Philly, when you do move him, you're at least able to you get a first-round pick back, the exact pick we're talking about. You get future second-round picks back. And so the most important thing you did with pick number 16 is you got an NBA rotation player. You got a guy who can help a team. And so even if he doesn't fit your team, he might fit another team. And I think that's even highlighted more here at 22, where you are more at the whims of what does the draft board look like. And your biggest goal here is you have to get an NBA player. It might be an NBA player that is not the perfect fit with your roster, is not a perfect fit with your best players. But if you get somebody here who's able to produce and retain value over time, if that guy shows enough, when other teams come knocking and say, hey, what is that guy worth to you? Or you go to another team and say, hey, this guy's not getting enough opportunity for you. We think he would fit better with our roster and our team. You have a chip that you can trade. And so to me, it's a simple equation. I'm not trading up for any guard in this class. I think that would be, frankly, irresponsible given who they already have. But if someone that I rank a lot higher than a clean fit falls to 22, I think you have to give it really lengthy consideration. And in a lot of cases, I think you say, we're going to take that guy and figure it out later. It's why, even though Derek was the one who took the bullets for mock drafting Philon, we're going to talk about Philon today. And I think if they end up in a scenario where someone like that, it falls into their laps at 22, I think you might have to take them and worry about the rest later.
Yeah. No, look, I think the McCain thing is a good callback because I've actually, when McCain really popped as a rookie and it looked like he was going to win Rookie of the Year, I went back and I watched 2 shows. I watched the one show, which was basically a guard show, sort of like this, where we talked about McCain probably for about 15 minutes. And then I watched our draft night reaction. And depending on how you look at that, when we were actually talking about McCain, the prospect, I think our evaluation of Jared McCain, the prospect, was actually very strong. Like, I remember going back and watching him, like, makes really good decisions with the ball, always in the right place defensively, has probably a little more passing chops and creativity than he is able to show at Duke. Really great movement shooter, hunts threes in transition. Like, I think we got all of the evaluation right. What we got wrong was we over-indexed on the fit with Maxey a little bit. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I'm not even 100% sure if we got that wrong because they ended up trading him a year and a half into his career, in part because the fit was so bad. But Kyle's point was the number one thing you have to do here is not miss on a draft pick. And especially at 22, that is actually very tough to do. It is very easy to miss on a draft pick. There aren't going to be all that many of them. Maybe like half of them will be actual NBA players. Don't know what's going on there with Devon. That's fine.
Devon's flying helicopters in the studios.
Josh was coming to pick me up. Talking about guards.
It is very easy to talk yourself into a bad player at 22 when you start looking for fit, when you start looking for needs, when you try to find an immediate contributor. You have to get the evaluation right. So if somebody who I actually believe in as a prospect, someone who I think will be a real NBA player in 2, 3, 4 years down the line falls, even if he's not the exact right fit, I don't want to make the same mistake where I over-index. And I think a lot of this comes down to Maxey, because a lot of the players we'll talk about right now, they're not bad fits with VJ. Do you think they can hold up defensively playing alongside Tyrese Maxey for enough minutes to justify this draft pick? When you're talking about Jared McCain at 16, I think that's a slightly bigger concern because 16, there's more options. When you're talking about 22, I really just want to make sure I get an actual NBA player because Kyle's right. Even if in 2 years you go like, you know what, we tried it. Philon just can't play next to Tyrese Maxey. We're committed to Tyrese Maxey. There's not going to be enough minutes. That's fine. As long as he showed he's an NBA player, you might not get like the apex of his trade value, but you will at least get something back. You have to get the eval right and then go from there.
All right, so some of the comments already, as we have so many of you in here. While you're in here, hit the like button, everybody. Like and subscribe to the show. We appreciate it. As always, leave a comment as well. Let us know how you feel about these guards. Right away, I'm looking at Ramid say, no more guards. Need a wing when it comes to that. And also, Brian says, don't let Derek pick the guard, LOL, because he picked the guard yesterday at 22.
Well, we're going to talk about that exact guard, I think, very
soon.
Here's what I'll say about we need a wing. That's great. The draft isn't where you get that. I'm going to
unless you pick high, generally.
Yes, but when you're picking 22, you're not picking a guy to come in here and fill the holes on your current roster. Now, again, I give a little bit more consideration because you're talking about a long-term fit next to Tyrese Maxey. But if you're talking for what the team needs currently are, I think you're going about the draft 100% wrong.
All right. Well, let's start off with the man you drafted yesterday at pick number 22 of our mock
Derek
draft.
Derek just continues to take the bullets for us, Devon, even though I'm going to be in on this guy as we talk about him.
Also, Philly fan who said no more guards need a wing is then lamenting the trade of Jared McCain. Well, if you think they should have kept Jared McCain, then clearly you don't think they should automatically take a wing with the 22nd pick.
Derek's really defensive right now. We got to rein him in.
Got him started, Ramid. You got him started. All right. Well, let's talk about Labaron Philon from Alabama and discuss the player. 22 points per game. He's 20 years of age. School, Alabama, 6'4". And so you selected him yesterday because that was the best player on our mock draft for the Sixers at pick number 22. With all of what you just talked about, best player available, unique talent on the team, where do you see him if he is part of that rotation of at least right now, that 3-guard lineup?
Yeah. Well, so I guess in the mock draft, Christian Anderson was gone, right? And I think
we also we lead
Stirtz
with Philon because
Stirtz was gone.
I think we came to the conclusion that of the guys who are getting lottery consideration, he seems like the most likely bet to fall. Like Berries is not going to fall. Carr, we feel pretty confident is going to be a top 16 or so.
The other guys are just way out of their
Michael Brown
range.
is way up there. Acuff is not going to be anywhere near. So Philon, the reason we're leading with him is that because of his strengths and weaknesses, it feels like he's probably the most likely of the top guard candidates to end up in this range.
Yep. I was also just trying to put it in context who we selected him ahead of. I think Okorie was still on the board and Malik was still on the board.
Malik Thomas.
So I think where you start off with Philon is he just gets anywhere he wants to with his dribble.
Yes, he does.
He is able to change direction. He's pretty quick with it. He just has complete control over it to the point where he can draw you one way and then burst out of it and go the other way. And he just gets to his spots. And that opens up everything else. Obviously he's a pretty good shooter off the dribble. He can get into the paint and finish through contact. I think he is a pretty good passer. Maybe not an elite passer, but I think a pretty good passer. And again, the ability to get where he wants off the dribble. I think he's a pretty good ability to pass one-handed off the dribble and really get that pass out there quickly. And it really just comes down to his ability to create space. I think there will be better pure shooters on this list. And Philon took a pretty big leap as a shooter in his second year. Went from 31% as a freshman to basically 40% as a sophomore. But there are probably better pure shooters, but I don't think there's anyone else who creates space as effectively as he does to get that shot off. So I really think he is a kind of guy, he can play a little bit on ball, a little bit off ball. I think he can utilize ball screens to get shots off. I think he can get shots off just out of isolations because he's so good with that dribble. Mm-hmm. And I just feel really confident he is going to be able to create a lot of good offense, even at the next level. And again, I think in terms of his athletic profile, he's not an elite vertical athlete. But I think he's pretty good in terms of changing direction, pretty good quickness to get to his spots. I'm pretty confident in him being a good offensive, if not an offensive engine, at the very least, like the six-man type that this team has basically never had since Lou Williams.
Yeah, I think he could be a Lou Williams type guy, right? And if you get Lou Williams at pick 22, in most drafts, that's a home run. So Philon, as Derek said, I think for me, the most impressive thing he does is his handle is so tight and so unpredictable for the other team that even when guys beat him to spots, he has ways to just slither through space, get around multiple defenders, like hits you with a move and then a counter move, can go behind the back, can cross you over, hits the hesitation, can change directions and speeds, and he constantly keeps you off balance. So the problem, of course, is that he is small. Like, he is not a guy who's going to overwhelm you with physicality. And the main way that shows up on offense is that he's not a guy who always gets to the rim or finishes well at the rim. He does have a really advanced, for his age, runner and floater package, like can bust that out at any time. As Derek mentioned, made a huge shooting leap as a sophomore. I think he went from like 31% to 39%. Shot over 6 free throws. I think he shot exactly 6 free throws a game and shot really well at the line. So the touch indicators are all there for him to be a shooter. I don't know if you compare him to Christian Anderson, another guy we're going to talk about. Anderson is far more accomplished and proven as an off-ball guy, which makes it easier to say if you draft him, no matter who he's playing with or what his role is, he can find a way to provide value. But I think Philon is super interesting because in a league where you're going to have guys who can win in isolation, can win out of pick and rolls, have to play on and off the ball, he's just more accomplished there than someone like Anderson. Like, because of that handle, that's his separator, that's his superpower, and you're able to overcome things like the size and the weight disadvantages that he's at, the lack of pure explosiveness. And I think when you watch him play, nobody ever speeds him up. He's always playing at his tempo. Doesn't matter if he's being guarded by someone bigger and more athletic. Doesn't matter if he's challenging, a big in space. He plays the game at his speed. And generally, those guys are guys who I think tend to translate at the next level. So to Derek's point, do I think he's going to be a true offensive engine, can control the team? Maybe not. Do I think he can be a guy who carries your bench, who can play next to VJ Edgecombe, who when those two guys are your leaders of your offense, you can put together a good offense and give everybody else a rest on the side of the floor? I do. I do think that those two, and with Philon's ball handling ability, they can put a lot of points on the board. So that's exciting to me. I know that that's not the same as like if you get a guy like Merez Johnson who falls and can start, that's a lot more exciting to some people, and I agree. But this is operating from a mindset of your best options and the best fits here are probably not going to be there by the time you pick. So take the guy who's the best player that you can get there.
I agree with a lot of what the guys said. Just the talent that's there, and coming in at 6'3", most teams have a player like this that does come off their bench and can provide some things, can run a second unit, can be a leading scorer for a second unit. And even as a young player, I was saying to the guys as we talked about the Lou Williams part of it, I also think that seeing Edgecombe and seeing McCain, even Justin Edwards, also with Tyrese Maxey being the now veteran on the team, as he laughs about at the age of 25 that he is, but he means so much for all of these younger guards that come in here to town. And when you bring in another talent like Philon potentially in here with Tyrese Maxey, with VJ Edgecombe, that's not a bad place to start for a young guard coming in with those two right in front of you, and the opportunity that will be there for him because of the lack of guards that you have on your roster. So really good player. We'll see if he does fall. Let us know how you feel about him in the chat when we come back. We have 4 more guards to get to. We want to get your thoughts on these guards. They mentioned a couple of their names. We see Mr. Sandman's super chat. We'll get to that as well. We also have the big takeaway presented by Xfinity. We'll show you that as well. But first, before we go to break, let's tell you about our draft party that we are going to have here at our offices on June 23rd, Tuesday night, round 1, night 1 of the NBA draft. And we're going to be right here in our office, in our studios, and so are you. It's a diehard event only. We would love to see you all hang out with us in here and come kick it with us as we get ready for the draft. We'll start maybe an hour early, talk a lot with all of you about how you're feeling, what you want. Do you want them to trade up? Do you want them to trade down? Do you want to stay at 22, pick the best player available? Even if it's a guard, we'll all be here with some other PHLY crew members here. Bree, Kyle, Derek, myself, we will be here, and we will talk hoops with you that night. $10 cover to get in for the ticket, because we're going to have pizza and we're going to have beverages and snacks and all kinds of stuff here. If you still want to take a shot at us on Pop a Shot or take some long-range jumpers here in the office with us,
we will have tomatoes you can throw at us, whether it's Devon for the whole Knicks thing or me for my draft takes. That's fine.
If they win the championship.
Or me for my punchable face.
All of that. Yes, absolutely. For all those things, come hang out with us. We really appreciate how you've supported us in the past outside of the studio for the draft. And tonight, for that night, we said, you know what, this year, in studio, and we want all of you to come hang out with us. So go check out allphly.com. Make sure you sign up, become a diehard member, because it is a diehard-only event, and we would love to see you on June 23rd. When we come back, don't you go anywhere. 4 more guards. Who's next? We'll let you know when we get back here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. It's that time. Championship time, right? In both NHL and NBA, and right now at Bet365, you can get a lot of different same-game parlays that I'm seeing right here on my app, everybody, where you can just go in and see where you can get 50% off profit boost for the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. You can get some same-game parlays that are already put together for the NBA Finals. Obviously, for each game, different odds on where they're perceiving things to be for those particular games. That's all at Bet365 right now. And for any new customers, this is what they have for you going right now. You, as a new customer, can get $200 in a promo when you just deposit $10. Place a bet for $10 and deposit that $10, and all you have to do is from there get $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. Download the app. Use code PHLY365, Bet365, where winning is everything. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, only must be physically located in Pennsylvania. Terms and conditions apply in-app. All right, everybody, the football schedule, it's been out now, so you had a chance to look at the entire schedule, talk amongst your family, your friends, your spouse, and say, which games are we going to go see the Birds take on whatever team in whatever city. And the only place to get involved with is the great people from Philly Sports Trips. Vince is the best at running Philly Sports Trips. You got the London trip that's available at phillysportstrips.com. And also Nashville. Birds are heading to Nashville. You know what that means. The honky talks, the live music, Eagles fans taking over Broadway all weekend long. Philly Sports Trips they bring hundreds of Philly fans to Music City in 2018, and they're ready to do it even bigger this time around. So this is more than just an away game. When you go see the Birds take on Tennessee and Nashville, it's the ultimate game experience. So get involved with Vince and those great people. Hollis Thomas is going to be there as well. Lock in your spot today at phillysportstrips.com. That's phillysportstrips.com. We're back here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Derek, Kyle, Devon, and Bree. Hit the like button, everybody. Like and subscribe to the show. We really appreciate it. As always, get the great written content. Said before the break, sign up at allphly.com. Guess what? All the great written content from these guys on the Sixers, draft prospects as well, right there at allphly.com. Right here in the chat, Yams says, Jose Alvarado and Jalen Brunson are on the same team. I'm not worried about a 6'3" guard if he can ball. Whatever position they pick, it doesn't matter if the player isn't good.
And that's exactly the point I think we were trying to open with. It's not that we specifically are pining for a guard. It's that if you end up at 22 and you say, hey, I think this guy's the 10th best player in the draft.
Yeah.
And the next guy who's a better fit is like your 29th rated player. You don't take the 29th rated player. You take the talent and you move forward. That when it's close, if you have guys in a similar tier, like, okay, it's the 20th best guy versus 23, and 23 fits a hell of a lot better. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's have some arguments. It's when the gap is big. Right. That's what we're talking about today.
It's like HHK, bunch of letters in the chat mentioned, like he mentioned Cam Carr. If Cam Carr's there and trade up range, I would love a wing like Cam Carr. But we're talking about a hypothetical where he's not.
We keep it going. Super chat. Mr. Sandman says Sam Hinkie's philosophy was to draft the highest rated player because he didn't understand how to build a basketball team. Fit is everything in basketball, Mr. Sandman.
I mean, first of all, I don't know why Sam Hinkie's being brought up 10 years after he's gone. Like, he has no impact on this draft. But we also have no idea about his thoughts on building a basketball team because he never got to the point where he was trying to. He was trying to take a franchise-altering talent, which he did when he drafted the second center in a row. They never got on the floor. Like, we never actually saw him try to build a basketball team.
Yeah. The big miscalculation was thinking they could flip Okafor.
Yeah, it didn't help that he was in the news for all the wrong reasons before ever playing a basketball game, but yes.
And also, we don't know about Mike Gansey, Jameer Nelson, what their philosophy really is when it all comes down to it, when they pick.
Schoolboy comes in and says, if they aren't taller than Kyle, trash emoji.
It is funny that Kyle, after making a Kyle Neubeck height test, is now promoting a bunch of guards.
Some talented guards there.
I think we're technically all promoting a bunch of guards. It just we're having a conversation today. So who do we want to go to next?
Let's go to Texas Tech there, Bree.
All right.
Let's go to Texas Tech and check in with the guy that, Kyle, you selected at pick 16 for the Memphis Grizzlies and our mock draft 1.0 on Thursday, and that's Christian Anderson. 18 points per game, 20 years of age, also 6'2" out of Texas Tech.
I think also he was dubbed exactly 6'1" without shoes at the combine, which you guys know I don't like that very much. Yeah. Not on this basketball team.
It was a near 6'7" wingspan, so he's got a very long wingspan.
But he's also dubbed as potentially he could be the best shooter in the draft. And that's a big, big thumbs up for him.
So here's the thing with Christian Anderson. When you get past the no doubt lottery guys, he might be the best combination of on and off ball skills of anybody in this class. Absolutely deadly shooter. He's someone that you run a pick and roll for him and the defense plays drop. He's got range out to like 28, 30 feet.
I would have a field day with him on the roster.
Oh, he is an outstanding shooter. 41.5% from three on almost 8 attempts per game as a college player. I think he might be the single best pull-up shooter in the entire class. The thing that's also really special about his offensive skill set, he's a great passer, and he's a great passer with both hands. And so when you get him rolling downhill with a big, or he's running a 1-2 screen, whatever it might be, coming off a flare, he can hit angles and windows that other guys just are not able to. Again, we have to come back to he is small. And so at the college level, one of the big concerns for him was that he is not a great isolation player. Like, he's someone who primarily operated out of ball screens and really needed ball screens. He wore down under pressure and against size. And it's why I think, although I think Anderson is an easier fit because he can play on and off the ball, it's why I believe in Philon more, because I just think his ability to win one-on-one matchups and not rely entirely on pick and roll stuff is probably going to give him a clearer path to just not being bumped out of a game by bigger matchups. But Anderson spent like his whole freshman year basically playing off the ball and was great off the ball. As a sophomore, he becomes the true hub of the offense, playing 38 minutes a game and hit every pass you want, every shot you want, and was a really successful offensive player in an on-ball role. If you're just looking for who might be the clearest, like, you put this guy on the team, he makes your offense better, he might be the guy at 22. I think there are significant warts and problems to deal with, but he is a really special shooting talent. And when you talk to people around the league they've had him in the gym for workouts, there is a lot of buzz about what this kid is doing in workouts right now. And I know that's not the end all be all, but when you go from, we've talked about, for example, Allen Graves, right? He's more of a positional fit who's a shooter. I think the impression of someone like Graves is, I think he'll make open shots, but he's not like an extraordinary sniper weapon, whatever you want to say, at this level. I think people have had Anderson come into their gym and say, this kid might just light teams up for his entire career.
Real fast, bigger, much better player, but the role that would have on this team, similar to what we saw with Jared Butler on this team, of how he came off the bench. Sometimes he's on the ball, sometimes he's off the ball for that reason and running a team. Again, not the same player, just talking about the role, right, similar height, all of that stuff.
No, when I said earlier about Philon that there are better pure shooters, but they can't create space, this was the guy I was directly referring to, because he's a better pure shooter, but he also struggles to create space. And Kyle's right. He's almost entirely reliant on a ball screen to get to his spots, and quite frankly, even just to get into his jumper, whether it's a pull-up jumper or a step-back jumper. He really does have a ton of diversity in the shot, though. Pull-up, step-back, off-ball, he can make pretty much any shot on the basketball court. When you mix that in with the passing instincts, it's a really intriguing package. I do think the defense is going to be, there's a concern that he doesn't get to his spots effectively off the dribble in isolation. He only has a couple made threes off of isolation all year. The bigger concern, though, is on defense. Yeah. Because he's 6'1", pretty thin. I do think that of a lot of the guards that we're going to talk about here, and especially compared to Philon, I think Anderson competes the best. I think he navigates screens the best. I think he plays with more physicality. He doesn't have the physicality.
There's only so much physicality he can have.
He attempts to play with physicality. So if he ever gets to the point where he can add 10, 15 pounds of muscle, I think he has a mentality where he'll use it and make the most of it. And if he does that, and with the 6'7" wingspan, he might be able to grade out to an average, to maybe even slightly above average defender. Still not sure that means he can play next to Maxey, but I think he has more, like Philon, he had too many moments where he was just not paying attention, not attentive, not able to get through screens, not in the right spots, not taking the right angles. Not a bad defender per se, but I think Anderson was the better, more consistent, and is more capable if he is able to flesh out and fill out down the line.
Having him, again, different type of defender now, but VJ Edgecombe there for sure, but also still having Joel back there maybe helps out a little bit with having a smaller guard like that. That, look, as long as he competes and does what he's supposed to do, they're going to pick on him. They're going to find him. They're going to target him, and they're going to go after him. But having those guys, with Paul George also out there on the floor, it maybe helps him out, though, because of those guys being there.
I will say, I think of the ones we're talking about today, I think he's my favorite. Maybe not for the Sixers, but just as a prospect.
Yeah, we have one more guy that I love. But I think Anderson, for me, because I feel so confident he's going to shoot, and because I think the passing creativity out of the pick and roll is pretty special for a guy in this range of the draft, I think I'm probably with you. I don't know, like if all these guards we're going to talk about were on the board, I'd probably still take Philon because of, you know, all the reasons that we talked about. But I think Anderson as a shooter, that might be the single best skill of anybody in this group.
All right, so that's 2 down as we talk about the guards and where things are with all of these players. 2 so far that we can see fitting on the Sixers roster. Some questions, but seeing them fit on the roster in general. We do want to tell you about as things are starting to get started with the World Cup, right? We got to tell you about a little collection that we have. The Cup Collection.
I need that Mexico flag tee, I think.
At allphly.com. Go check it out. Well, look, just go to allphly.com, find the merch, and just the drop button, bang, you are right there. And you can check out the new merch collection. You see all the different countries that are represented. Kyle just mentioned one. You see the USA on the left side. Some really cool designs there for the Cup Collection 26 that's available for you right now. As you go check that out at our website, you can also go to store.allcity.network, store.allcitynetwork.com to also, if you wanted to go that direction. But they're there. Go check them out. Cool designs, all of that as World Cup gets underway this weekend here in town at the Link. And I'm sure a lot of you will be down there enjoying the weather and some great competition as the World Cup gets underway.
Shout out to my guys from the Ivory Coast because I think they're staying in Delaware right now.
Are they?
Yes. So
not too bad of a trek.
I always like they normally have fun teams to watch. So we'll see how they do. I wanted to call out because we talked about some comps for these guys before the show.
Yep.
And Greeny Green threw out Garland for Anderson. That's actually somebody that we were talking about. I don't think that's the craziest comp. Obviously, Garland was more highly regarded than Anderson.
Top 5 pick.
He gets taken, was it fourth overall, I think, in that class, despite the fact that he didn't play a whole lot in college. But I think there's some stylistic similarities for sure. I think it was clearer with Philon, like that. I felt stronger in the Lou Will-ish type player there. But yeah, I think the ability to play on and off the ball, passing creativity, and the lack of size puts them in kind of a similar combo.
All right. Appreciate that, Greeny Greens. When we come back, let's get to guard number 3 on our list. Who could it be? You guys don't even know who we have on this list. So stay tuned when we come back. Let's get to another guard, see how you like that one for the Sixers on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
And guys, next up, we want to tell you about Xfinity, specifically their 5-year price guarantee. Because what if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like a super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense. And that lets you stream the game even when the whole family's online. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part. There's no annual contracts, no hidden fees, and you get Xfinity's best equipment included. Take it from me, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, dreams grow bigger. But your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable, and the price, it should stay put. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only, restrictions apply.
Good people from Rothman Orthopedics, everybody. I'm here with you because I can walk because of Rothman. ACL repair, Achilles repair, all from Rothman Orthopedics. That's why I feel very comfortable telling you about it as well. So if you've had maybe not something as severe as I had, but maybe feeling a little tough after a rigorous workout, pickup game, or just everyday life changing up on you, don't ignore it. Go with the best at Rothman Orthopedics. They've earned national recognition as the #1 physician practice by Castle Connolly for having the most top doctors in orthopedic care. That means top-tier specialists right here and ready to help. Scheduling is very simple. Just visit rothmanortho.com/PHLY to book your appointment. And you can tap into Rothman now for immediate virtual access to an orthopedic expert who can point you in the right direction. Don't wait it out. Go to rothmanortho.com/PHLY and take the first steps towards feeling like yourself again. And we're back here on the PHLY Sixers podcast. Hit the like button, like and subscribe, leave a comment. We appreciate you as always. And you know what? Let's make this the big takeaway. Big takeaway presented by Xfinity. Make sure you head to Xfinity.com. You're in the house, you're relaxing, it's too hot, you don't want to go outside. So you said, you know what, I'm going to stay in, watch some television, watch some movies, watch the World Cup, watch PHLY Sixers. And you're going to do so because your great connection thanks to Xfinity and Xfinity.com. Let's get to player number 3. As we go in this direction, we head to the West Coast. We go to Stanford, and we check in on Ebuka Okorie, guard.
Hooper.
Out of Stanford, 6'2", 23 points per game, 19 as a freshman, of course, at Stanford. But the kid can play some basketball.
Boy, Kenny.
Put him on the roster, Kyle.
I don't know that I'm putting him on the roster.
All right.
However, I think there's a non-zero chance that he's better than all the guys we'll talk about today because he played in a pretty rough offensive environment at Stanford. I think close to 60% of his attempted threes were off the dribble because nobody else could create shots with regularity.
It's a tough team.
His efficiency in that environment was still really good. Scored 23 points a game, of course. Shot over 7 free throws a game. So his thing is he put pressure on the rim. The downside is he didn't make a lot of his shots in there. I think he shot something like 53, 54, 54% at the rim, which is not good, right? It certainly has to be better. But despite the fact that if you just look at the measurements, his size is right in line with a lot of these guys. I think he looks a little bit more built up top, and he was able to withstand bumps and bruises and guys trying to defend him in the paint. And he was a big-time scorer at the college level. And I think of these guys who all carried significant offensive workloads, he did a pretty good job of still competing on the defensive end. I do think he was more of a gambler. I would say he's a home run hitter in that respect, which is to say he struck out quite a bit. And so Nick Nurse would probably be licking his chops at another guy who's willing to just gamble all over the floor. But I think his handle is really good. I think he's a good athlete. He's got a big enough wingspan that hopefully he's able to defend the backcourt. Certainly not going to be able to defend wings with his overall size. But I think he's got a lot of good indicators that he's going to shoot on and off the ball potentially at the next level. The question with the off-ball stuff is like we didn't see it. He's really not been put in a role where he's had to be an off-ball guy at all. So can you bank on that at the next level? I don't know, and it does make him a trickier projection here. I think if he goes to a team that's just like, you're our guy leading us off the bench, looking at like I think Denver is a common team he's been mocked to. I think that's a dynamite fit for him. So I probably wouldn't take him at 22 if there are comparable options that fit better. But I do really like the player. I think he was really, really good at the college level as a true freshman.
Real fast to your point on the team, you mentioned Denver. Green-Eye Bandit says word on the street is Detroit for him.
I think he would make sense there too, as for a team that desperately needs creators on offense.
I think he would be better with a little bit better. Yeah, I think he would be better suited to have it go to a team with a little more spacing though, because I think one of the things, he is blazingly fast. He got I think almost exactly half of his field goal attempts came at the rim. He got to the free throw line almost 7.5 times per game. To Kyle's point, he only shot 54% on the rim, which is probably about a good 10% lower than you would want. I think part of it is two things. One, Stanford didn't have a ton of spacing, and so some of those attempts were tougher.
Not have enough spacing?
And also, I think he has a little bit of VJ's problem where one more dribble could have made the attempts a lot easier. Like, he has really good hang time, really good body control, really good touch, and I think he overly relied on that a little bit too much. So I do think maybe if he's in more of a 5-out system, those attempts might get easier. His speed might be more of a factor. I will take a guy who can get to the rim at will, even if he struggles right now finishing, over the inverse of that, which is ironically something we'll talk about pretty soon with our next guard. I think there is something to work with there. I do worry a little bit. Like, he did almost nothing out of ball screens. Like, comparing to Christian Anderson, who relied on them for most of his offense.
He's an ISO guy.
He's a complete ISO guy. He made literally a handful of 3-point attempts off of a ball screen. So he is much more comfortable creating for himself. And again, he is 6'2", 6'3". So I think that's going to come into a lot of the conversation when you're talking about the Sixers specifically. Pretty good wingspan, 6'8". I do agree with Kyle. I think he has a frame where you're a little more comfortable projecting him filling out. The only other thing I'd add is he does seem like his release point on the jumper is a little bit low. And I worry sometimes with guys like that, are you going to be able to get that off in a tight contest against NBA athletes?
So Melo had mentioned his comp that we talked about before the show, Dennis Schroeder, as a potential comp. And for Okorie, much faster type of player, but just
I think he plays with more control than Schroeder did as a young player, and maybe even now.
So again, Gansey, I know he was there with you in Cleveland. Don't bring him here.
You're talking about Schroeder, not Okorie. I don't
Schroeder.
Are you how do you feel about
I'm good on Okorie. Again, I prefer some of the others, the two that we mentioned before him, but I do like him as a player. To your point, Derek, of having the shooters around him, that would help him out tremendously. But I do also look at it if he was on this team. Again, we talk about being an ISO type of player. Look, man, when you get a big dude like Joel Embiid setting the screen for you, though, you're out there, that makes your world a lot easier when you are having to look at the rim from behind the 3-point line where he creates that much amount of space for you. So we'll see. I do like the player, though. I'm considering it, but I still think he might be, even though I've seen him mocked as high as like 16, I think it was.
He's got a pretty wide range, it feels like.
I still wonder if he's more, maybe the 21 that Green Eye Bandit that talked about, maybe he is around there, but I kind of think that he's a little bit after the Sixers, but I do like the player. I would enjoy watching the player wherever he ends up. I would enjoy watching the player. All right.
That's the big takeaway.
That's the big takeaway, presented by Xfinity. Go to Xfinity.com. You can watch us in 4K. You can watch the draft in 4K. You can do so many things with your viewing pleasure. But from the big takeaway, great people, presented by Xfinity and Xfinity.com. All right, on the other side, we have two more guards. I've seen both of their names mentioned in the chat, but you guys have thrown a lot of names out there. You may not know who we're talking about, but we will get to those. But before we go, we want to tell you that next weekend, the 20th, official PHLY Phillies tailgate, the best in the city, June 20th. Phillies taking on the Mets. It's presented by Philly Sports Trips. And look, man, you got some great stuff going on at Cavs Catering, Vince, and the great people at Philly Sports Trips. It's going to be a blast out there. Phillies are playing some good baseball. They make a trade for Derek Hill. What's up with the lineup? Is he going to be out there on the field, hitting home runs, all that great stuff? Well, you can watch that game on June 20th, Father's Day weekend, with all your Phillies friends, including the ones from here at PHLY, the biggest PHLY tailgate that's going to be at Citizens Bank Park. It's going to be a great time. Make sure you go to allphly.com to sign up for that as well. All right, when we come back, final two picks that we're looking at, the players, guards. Who are they? You brought them up, but stay tuned. Don't go anywhere to find out. Do they fit with the Sixers? Do you like these guys? We want to know right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
Hey guys, Kyle Newbeck here from the PHLY Sixers podcast. And I got to tell you, when you become a homeowner, you never know how many different things could go wrong. Every project, you're like, maybe I can do this. But you want that satisfaction and that comfort of knowing a real expert is taking care of your house. And the seasons are changing. The temperatures are changing. Ace Hardware Home Services can help you with the heat when we have those cold days. But more importantly, HVAC, air conditioning, you need that cranking like it should as it gets hot heading into the summertime. And from AC repairs to water heaters, plumbing, electrical, Ace Hardware Home Services brings their trusted local pros to bring the same helpful service that you know from Ace right into your home. So whether it's a quick fix or a bigger summer project, they have the tools, they got the know-how, and the people to get it done right. You don't want to be pulling wires. You don't want to be doing things that you're not qualified to do. Don't want to hurt yourself. Don't want to hurt your house. So visit aceHardwareHomeservices.com today to get started. Guys, I want to introduce your newest craving. That's right, Wawa now has tacos. Wawa's expanding its freshly prepared food lineup with new seasoned beef tacos, and they're available just for a limited time, built to deliver bold, craveable flavor in every single bite, warm, soft tortillas with savory, juicy, and boldly seasoned beef. I've been having quite a few of them lately as I've been on the go, I was on vacation, had to stop by for some Wawa tacos. All kinds of options to choose from as you prepare yours. You can choose from the seasoned beef, chicken steak, or black beans. You add that shredded cheddar cheese, of course. You can pick up the 2 spreads. So they have salsa roja, garlic aioli, barbecue ranch, buffalo, chipotle is the one I'm going with. Then you get a fresh topping like shredded lettuce, salsa, fire roasted corn, onions or pickled jalapenos packed into that tortilla. It's a perfect on-the-go option, but do not wait. This lineup is only here for a limited time while supplies last. So get your butts down to Wawa. Next time you're there, grab a taco. Find your brand new go-to order.
We're back here on the PHLY Sixers podcast with 2 more players to talk about in the guard class. Talented. Do they fit the Sixers as we keep it going here? And Derek, I know Kyle's got something with this one. Want to bring this one to you first. And that is, we go to Iowa. Bennett Stirtz.
Yeah, I mean, look.
What's the fit look like?
So he's the one where I worry about him defensively almost as much as any of these guys. You know, in part because he just doesn't seem like he changes direction all that quickly. You know, at least somebody like Anderson, I can envision where if he puts on some weight, I think he can hold his own defensively. Stirtz, I'm not sure I see the vision of him getting to a neutral NBA defender, and especially next to Maxey. Because again, Stirtz, he's got decent size at basically 6'4" in shoes, only a 6'6" wingspan, and only 186 pounds. He's just as thin as pretty much everyone that we're talking about here, but he's almost 23 years old, so he's had time to physically mature and just hasn't added the kind of strength, and probably more importantly, doesn't really play with a ton of strength. And like I said, I worry a little bit about him changing direction. You know, he is really, I think, methodical in the pick and roll and fun to watch. Like, he gets to his spots even though he doesn't have great burst. He's really good at having, you know, like a hesitation, getting someone off balance, and then then changing direction towards the rim and getting to his spots in that way. You'll have multiple, like, you know, hesitation moves in one go. He'll change direction. It's really fun to watch. He then combines that with a really good pull-up game, really good mid-range floater game, and really good passing out of a pick and roll. And I think he is a player who relies on the pick and roll a lot. Going back to what we talked about at the rim with Okorie, where Okorie got there a ton, but only shot 54%. Stirtz got there way less, but shot like 70%
Elite
at
finisher,
the rim.
yeah.
And again, he doesn't have a lot of vertical pop. Really good in terms of floaters. Really good at protecting the ball on the way up. Really good touch. You do worry a little bit that how much is that going to translate when the level of competition increases. But he was really effective at the rim, and he's overall just a really smart decision maker. Probably on both ends of the court, and that's always something to consider. Like I said, I think it concerns me a little bit. He was really, I think they wanted to play him off ball when he came there, and then they realized like, oh, he's by far our best on ball player, and switched. So I'd like to see him in a little more of an off ball role, but he is probably the one that I worry about the most defensively. Yeah,
I mean, I think he's going to shoot at the next level. Like, I think the catch and shoot numbers are great. I know it's a more limited sample, but like, I think this is a guy on and off the ball who will make shots. I think his court vision's really good. Mention the elite finishing. That's where you run into, I brought up to these guys before the show. Some of you will remember Grant Riller, who played at Charleston, who he came into the NBA and people were like, this guy's at rim numbers are insane. He's a really creative finisher and blah, blah, blah. And he did get hurt, which compromised his explosiveness. However, you do have to factor in, like, will this guy be able to get to the rim to access the finishing ability, the touch, and then the playmaking opportunities as well? And that's one of my concerns with Stirtz. I would also point out, so Mr. James, one of our very opinionated draft guys in the chat, love you, Mr. James, has been saying that Stirtz is the only guy with any size of this group that could play with the other guys. So I want to run you through the exact size of a few of these guys at the combine. Bennett Stirtz was 6'2.5" with a 6'6" wingspan, weighed 186 pounds. Philon, 6'2.5", 6'6", 0.25 wingspan. So you got a quarter inch on him in wingspan.
Every quarter inch
and
matters.
176 pounds. So he's 10 pounds lighter. He's also like 2.5 years younger than Bennett Stirtz. Okorie, meaningfully shorter. He's 6'1", 0.25 without shoes, but he's got a close to 6'8" wingspan. And guess what? He weighs the exact same to the pound, 186 pounds, as Bennett Stirtz. And so these guys are all in the same bucket. Like Bennett Stirtz maybe might look on TV for whatever reason like he is a bigger guy. He is not a materially bigger guy. In fact, he is almost exactly the same as all these guys while being 2 and 3 years older. So there's more of a bet that Philon and Okorie and Anderson are going to put on weight in those 2 to 3 years than Stirtz will in the next 2 to 3 years. So that will even out over time. So it comes down to player, prospect, team fit. I like him. I just am more concerned about once the athleticism jump happens, going to the next level, that the things he's good at will start to disappear. He's not a big separator already. I do think he's a very smart player, and that might be the equalizer, allow him to be a guy who can hit relocation threes when he's off ball, who can play with the right tempo and pace in the pick and roll, where, again, I think his passing is pretty awesome. Like, I think he sees the floor great from basically every spot on the floor. But the case is not about, oh, this guy's a bigger option. Like, you are still talking about someone who is a troublesome fit in terms of the defensive stuff next to Maxey. I like him. He's in a tier or range of this class where I probably, even if they're rated over slightly lower than him, because I don't think he is better enough than some of those guys to justify taking him.
And as we always say, this team, this group, he can play, and that's why the Detroit thing makes sense for him a little bit more, because you have Cade Cunningham there, 6'6". You have some other big guards that are there, and they need shooting. And while the Sixers do need shooting, it's just the personnel that makes it much easier for Bennett Stirtz. Saw a lot of people, though, talking about him. Really good shooter. You could see why he would be on this team, but also does the fit work here in Philadelphia?
I think there's a chance he could be a very good NBA player. I think this is a tougher environment for him than a lot of these other teams in like the low to mid 20s or even the high teens.
Before we get to our last name, our last guard, let us know who you think it is in the chat while we run through these super chats. Mr. Sandman says Larry Brown had traded Jerry Stackhouse because he knew he wasn't the right fit with Allen Iverson. That's what smart basketball minds do.
Well, it was also probably because the two of them would kill each other if they stayed on the team much longer.
It honestly is more that Jerry Stackhouse said, get me the hell off this team if Iverson is here, more than anybody being a great basketball mind.
And by the way, first of all, it's also talent evaluation. Like, Stackhouse was just overrated. Like, he was not as good as people thought he was going to be. And that goes back to the whole Hinkie comment, too. Like, Hinkie's problem wasn't drafting Okafor. Hinkie's problem drafting Okafor.
Drafting Okafor was his problem.
Hinkie's problem with drafting Okafor wasn't because Okafor was another big man. It's because he stunk.
He wasn't good enough.
He was not good enough. I mean, look, what would have happened if it was Kristaps Porzingis? That was also, right. So might have been different. Thank you, though. We appreciate that one. Once again, Mr. Sandman, Davon says, Isaiah Evans, not a playmaker, but shooting and length.
And I think
Is that the guard?
So
we'll let you know.
No, because we've talked about him already, and I think he's probably in more of the Cam Carr two guard. So he's technically a guard, but I think we view him as a different sort of. Today is all the little guys that we're talking about. That's
Today's reserved for the guys that Kyle Neubeck had previously crossed off his list because they were too short. But now we're reevaluating.
Still are crossed off the list, but.
Well, guess what? Our last one. Let me see. A couple of people in here say, let me see. We got Malik Thomas. We got Leak from Mello. We have, those are the only two that I see that say who our next guard is. Well, guess what, everybody? Right now, we're going to talk about a 6'3" guard out of Arkansas, Malik Thomas. Yes.
Pretty good player.
15.6 a game, 20, Arkansas. 6'3", 6'4". The comp that I saw Jonathan Wasserman have for him, Jordan Clarkson for Malik Thomas.
I think that's honestly, so if he lasts as long in the league, as long as Clarkson, that's good. I think it's a little insulting in the sense that, like, the first 7 years of Clarkson's career was just give him the ball, black hole, and he's only on ball guy. I think Malik, one of the sales points with him is that he was an on ball offensive leader type guy coming into college and showed right away, I can play off ball. I can play next to a dominant point guard, lead guard type, and I can still make a big impact as an off ball scorer and shooter. Like I think that is the main draw if you wanted to draft him. Now, he again, for me, is more, he's a trade down guy. Like when we did our trade down show, we talked about Evans. That's part of why we didn't focus on him today. I worry about the lack of rim pressure with Thomas. I worry about the fact, combined with that, he only dunked the ball 4 times all year.
And he's an athlete,
he's a good athlete,
yeah,
which says like he has a hard time getting to the rim. Now, the good news is okay size relative to this group, not relative to the other members of his class, but he can shoot it. And anytime you can shoot it, you have a chance to be a high-level contributor for an NBA team. So not my guy, but certainly someone that I like. And if they had a high second-round pick, he is firmly on the board for me.
Yep. No, I mean, he's one of the higher-level shooters in this range and probably in the class. I do worry a little bit defensively. He doesn't have quite as much natural playmaking as some of the guys that we talked about here. The on-ball creation is, I think, maybe a little bit of a work in progress, but he's certainly, like, if it's a trade down, he'd be in there.
Yeah, trade down, definitely like him. You don't have to sit there at 22, although some of the mock drafts do have him somewhere around that 23, 24 range where he would be selected, and then on the back end of the first round, certainly into the second round. A lot of fans, though, Sixer fans in our chat, who really do like Malik Thomas. I do like the player. If coming out of Tulsa, I was a Jordan Clarkson guy. Sixers second-round pick, get him. They did not, and they could have used him even in those times, and you saw him turn into Sixth Man of the Year type player for the Utah Jazz for the things that he did. But to the guys' point, he can also play on ball, which would allow VJ Edgecombe to play off the ball a little bit more, Tyrese Maxey to play off the ball. Maybe not at 22, but if you trade back a little bit, and you did wind up in the 25, 26, 27 type range, and you have him rated higher than one of the bigs, I would be fine with Malik Thomas for sure. Very well coached, as we know, John Calipari in Arkansas. And again, he's playing behind Acuff, starting some games, but he also had Wagner, who was also there, who was a favorite of John Calipari. So he was with a good guard group while at Arkansas. So he also knows his role. But you also look at him, and he probably wants to spread his wings a little bit more after being with those guys. But playing in a system like this one with those other two guards that will be in front of him, you could do a lot worse than Malik Thomas at any point in the 20s, and definitely in the early part of the second round, should you acquire a second-round pick. Fan of his. I'm a fan of his.
And I do think, like Derek talked about Anderson's willingness to compete. I think Malik had a bad reputation from what I know as a defender coming into college. I actually think he was probably better there than I expected and was at least willing to try to defend. So I don't know how much it matters because the size concerns, depending on who he's playing with, are going to be pretty meaningful. But I put a lot of value on when you come to school having been like the guy, and then you play off of someone like Acuff, and you just immediately like fish to water, take to that. That's a lot tougher for teenagers and young players than I think people understand or think about. And so I give him a lot of credit for that. Certainly some of that is Calipari putting him in positions to succeed. But
as you say that, we go into overtime and let everybody know on the television side. Thank you. We'll see you next Monday. Have a great weekend. We'll see you at 3 o'clock on Monday. Make sure you head over to allphly.com for the remainder.
Yeah, so I think that speaks to his skill set as a shooter, certainly, like quick release, high efficiency, all that. But also the mentality, the attitude, right? Not every kid as a teenager goes to school and handles that the right way. I think he did. That gives him, sends him up a couple notches in my book, I'd say.
Well, Malik Thomas, Bennett Stirtz, we had Okorie, Anderson, and we also had for just Philon, these really, really talented guard that we talk about at pick number 22 for the Sixers and how they would fit. You guys were all in on this one, and we appreciate the interaction. As always, hit the like button, like and subscribe to the show, leave a comment, spread the word. We always ask you, tell if word of mouth helps too. We know you're here. Tell others that we are here at the PHLY Sixers podcast.
Every day, baby.
And look, we are less than 2 weeks away from the NBA draft. Next week, when we start on Monday, we will be 8 days away from the NBA draft. It has crept up on us because we were talking about Daryl Morey leaving, new president of basketball operations, the search ending up with Mike Gansey, Jameer Nelson, promoted. A lot to talk about there in between the season coming to an end in the second round. And we are just right here now on the NBA draft. Next week, we'll have some more draft stuff. We have some interviews that we would like for you to check out, including talk to a Michigan coach. We talked to a Baylor coach. We got everybody for you as we start to look at these prospects.
Continue working the Rolodex to see if we can get some more before draft night.
Yes, we also have Tim Legler. That's going to drop a little bit later today in the 4 o'clock hour. Get ready for that. Always good conversation with Legs. You always support our conversations with Legs. So you check that out on our YouTube page. Of course, as always, PHLY_sports on YouTube. You guys want to know where to go. But for those who are just checking in and are like, wait a minute, how do I find all this stuff? Right there on our page. So got all the great draft coverage. We got Sixers coverage, NBA Finals coverage with Legs as well. All right here on the show. Make sure you check it out at PHLY_sports. We're bringing it all to you. We're getting you ready for the draft, everybody. Some second round conversation maybe shortly. Maybe,
yeah, I think we've touched on some guys that we would draft at the top of the second round if they had a second round pick. Unfortunately, they don't. And so I do think, and maybe this is a whole show, you could certainly justify to me trading a couple seconds in the future to get into that range. If somebody like a Zuby falls there.
Got to say it because Vince is in the chat all the time. Baba Miller.
No,
gotta say
you can't let him. You can't let him win.
I always tease him like, Vince, today's the day we talk about Baba Miller, and then we don't do it just to piss him off. So next show, Vince, Monday, we're definitely talking Baba Miller.
We brought his name up. There are some other Baba Miller fans in the chat.
Yeah.
So but
I always like 23-year-olds who can't shoot. They're my favorite draft prospects. Oh, I think he's only 22. I might have oversaid it.
Crazy athlete.
Yes.
Crazy athlete.
Crazy athlete.
Crazy athlete. All right, let's
get a rebounder too. Anyway, what are we doing here?
Any more last minute takes on these guys or anybody else before we get to our news and notes?
No, I think
I
don't know if we explicitly said every name in the guard class, but they're like the Cam Carrs of the world we've talked about. Berries we don't think will be there. Brown won't be there. Acuff certainly isn't going to be there. So we tried to focus on guys that, based on intel, mock drafts, whatever, have a reasonable chance to be in the Sixers range. So we'll see what ends up happening. I don't think they're going to take a guard. I'd be pretty surprised if they take a guard, honestly. But
again, we don't know what Gansey is going to do. So
we do not.
That's the other intrigue of it all is you have a new man in charge and have no idea what he's thinking. Mm-hmm. No idea why he builds this team out with Jameer
Chaos
Nelson,
mode.
Bob Myers. Chaos mode indeed. By the way, Davon, last minute super chat. There was a report out there that the Nets could go heavy after Austin Reeves and offer him up to the max, which is $178 million over the course of the life of that contract. What do you think about that? I mean,
it's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money look, Austin Reeves is going to get paid. I just don't know what he looks like out of that Lakers ecosystem. I just don't know. He's a very talented player. We saw him
when
all-star numbers
LeBron
when those guys went down.
Incredible numbers.
Yeah. Is it going to lead to winning for the Nets?
That's always a question. There's always going to be sticker shock with some of these because, what's that average value of $45 million? That's not even superstar money anymore. That's all-star money, which again I think is going to hit people in different ways. And when you're a bad team, this is why draft reform pisses me off so much. When you're a bad team, you have to overpay flawed players to get them to leave, and you end up with these kind of contracts.
All right, so
I think the problem is that the guards are the guys who are the best players available in the draft, and you have to make a
That's
decision
where I
there
was.
before you get to free agency and you know if you're going to even get Reeves. So imagine you draft Acuff 6th, and then you're like, hey, Austin Reeves.
By the way,
$178 million. Good luck ever stopping anybody at that point.
By the way, you still have Michael Porter Jr. on that roster. That's your
you
three.
could have Prime Hakeem back there, and I'm not sure that team could get a stop.
That's your 3 right there, those guys. So maybe it makes them think a little differently and put the ball in his hands. Maybe they take Wagler if he's still available, if he gets past 5. I don't know, man.
Mara season
there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Early
I
at
don't know
6.
what they're going to do.
I don't know. I have no idea, but good one, Davon. We'll see how that one plays out. All right. We got some news and notes here.
Supposedly, this news and note was something that I'd be either in on, excited about, have takes on.
You will have takes on this one. Also want to get your guys' thoughts on Game 5 for tomorrow, but let's get to this news and notes, which is
Oh, I did see this.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Pizzeria that is now opening in Santa Monica, California. They have.
There was a conversation in my household about this already.
Yes. Okay. So again, I know Kyle. It's opening this summer. I don't have I mean, I've seen like Bree has some of the menu, their stuff up there, but on their website, I don't actually have. As I was trying to pull this one up here, but it's gonna be here. It's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle themed pizzeria. Kyle, what took so long? They've been out for
probably licensing reasons.
I was going to say, my questions are, 1, how did they get the licensing for this? 2, it's a little sacrilegious to do this in LA and not New York.
Not New York.
Like, it feels like this is a New York pizza place. Now, I'm deep enough in the weeds on this stuff that I saw videos this guy posted that he went to 1 million New York pizza shops and like tried to build the pizza around New York slices. There was debate amongst commenters who were like, the Ninja Turtles pizza has way more cheese on it, and it seems like they've improved the cheese ratio that drips off the slice over time. I told you, I'm doing my research on this. So I have family that lives out in LA, and I joked to my wife, I was like, just one more reason we got to get out there and take a day trip to Santa Monica.
I think we need
pizza.
a team bonding.
We got a team bonding out there, man. We got to go. Bree, you down to go to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Pizzeria?
I would 100% go. If I'm out there.
Yeah.
And they better have some fire merch. That's the real question.
So here, I have prices. I don't have the merch. I have prices. Shirts, $38 to $50. Hats, $36. Pins.
If there's a good hat for $36, that's in the mail the second I can order one.
Pins, $12. Sweaters, $70.
Yeah, I don't need a sweater.
Lanyards, $18. They have decks that are $80 and totes $32 to $36 at the pizzeria.
I better see if it's you know what? Shopify. Get in with these people. Put up the online storefront. I will be there day one. That's all I'll say about that.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I thought you would like that one. It's already been a conversation in the household.
I hope the pizza is good. If the pizza sucks, it's like, the novelty is fun. And
we got some people in the chat said they would take this road trip with us. Obviously, Gene, our guy, let's go. Gene said he's out. We're out there. Anybody else hanging out with us, let us know so we can go check this. What is it? What you got, Bree?
Stuck. Oh, there we go. No, I just wanted Instagram. I think this is the guy that opened it up. So maybe that's
so. Do they have like Donatello pizza, Michelangelo pizza theme, all that other good stuff?
Yes.
All right, we have to check it out. What were you saying, Derek?
We have been teasing a Ninja Turtles show for like 3 years running. Maybe this is the off season to finally do it.
Because the concept for the show is who's the best Ninja Turtle, but the whole point of the Ninja Turtles is they all have their strengths and weaknesses and are better as a unit.
I'm just saying we've been teasing this show for years.
I'm trying to find the menu, but
Derek all know Derek is the spiritual Donatello. I am the spiritual Raphael. Is Devon Michelangelo or Leonardo?
More Michelangelo, I think.
Well, since Bree is the president of basketball ops, by default she has to be Leonardo because he's the leader.
That's right.
I guess. I was a Raph fan growing up.
So
in terms of fan, I was a Michelangelo fan growing up.
Bree, I was a Leo because he's got the sword, and canonically in the comics, he kills Shredder single combat, like decapitates him with his sword.
That's dope.
However, I know myself. I am Raphael spiritually, so that's
All right, you can have him. It's cool.
If you think you're Raph,
No, I'll take the sword.
it's
I like
clearly the
blue.
best weapon.
Blue is
the
cool.
katana, number one by a lot. I'm not even sure who has the second best weapon. Mikey, the nunchucks.
I don't feel like those are all that practical. Then again, I've never actually tried to fight with.
You ever trying to fight with a bow staff or size? Like, who's fighting with anything in here that's not a sword?
Yeah.
None of us.
Yeah.
And even with a sword, what the heck am I going to do with a sword? Stab myself, probably.
Yeah.
But actually, good call out from AA Ron. Devon might be Master Splinter. He's the calm leader. He's
I'll take
teaching
that.
everybody.
Take
The
that.
expert here.
I'll take that. Just don't take me
these
out.
here.
The box is pretty cool. You see the box here with
No, I don't.
I thought you could see it on the angle.
Okay, yeah.
The box is pretty cool. Yeah.
Would you keep that as memorabilia?
I would. Yeah. Clean it out. Whatever,
Depends on how much grease is in
That's
that
why I
pizza
clean it
box.
out or ask for a souvenir type of, little collectible. And yes, that would go on the shelf. I think that's a box that goes on the shelf for sure. Yeah. Can't find the menu, but I'll have that much better for everybody. It's on social media though, so you can go check all that cool stuff out. All right, what are you guys' thoughts on? So I thought you would like that news and notes. Also you and Bree
Boy,
and
did
everybody else. Real fast, Game 5, going back to San Antonio. How you guys feeling?
I have no fucking idea. You can
Yep.
say it now, right? Yeah.
Yep.
I have no idea. Like, this series is completely unpredictable. I think Spurs are probably going to take a pretty big lead, and then the Knicks are probably going to come back, and who ends up winning in the end, we'll find out. It is going to be fascinating on how the Spurs react, because like that's one of the most devastating losses you'll ever experience in your life. There's probably nothing any of those guys have ever been through that will prepare them for how they're going to react tonight, so we don't know. I think we were talking to Tim Legler earlier, and he was like, I'm sure they're going to come out fired up at the beginning. And I'm sure he's right on that. It's how do you respond in either direction, really? Like, how do you respond if you get a big lead? How do you have the confidence that you're going to be able to keep it? Or if the Knicks come out and punch you in the face, how do you respond? That'll be really interesting.
Go Spurs, go. That's all I got. I'm with you. I think that was such a devastating loss that it's probably hard to come back from. Here's actually my take. I saw the reporting that over 50% of the tickets have been bought by people from New York and New Jersey. Maybe people can stop getting on Sixers fans for New York people invading the Philadelphia arena when they don't have to get on flights to go to Philadelphia, and they took over here. If a finals game in San Antonio, Texas is overtaken by Knicks fans, perhaps there's just a lot of them with a lot of money, and they're able to take over arenas. Like, you don't have to like it, but that might just be the world we live in.
The only thing I'll add is that in their 3 elimination games, they've been on the road. And all 3 of them.
Or you might want to arm yourself here just in case.
Competition is a little bit different than what you saw from the Hawks, Sixers, and Cavaliers. Competition is a lot different from what you saw from those 3. But what we also saw in those 3 were immediate blowouts in the first quarter where there were no doubters. Will that happen again? Don't know, but that goes to your points of how will San Antonio respond to what happened to them on Wednesday night, and how they come right out of this game to start. So we'll see. We'll see. It's not going to be easy. I don't think it's going to be easy.
Tell you one thing, Dylan Harper,
boy,
that kid is a player.
Should
We're really glad
trade
that
up.
we talked him up a lot during the draft, and he still hasn't shot, and it really doesn't
what's
matter
funny?
a whole heck of a lot.
Because if Fox is still there, is he still coming off the bench?
Yeah. Well, and how are you going to be able to move Fox at this point? Like, that's a really tough contract.
Yeah, man.
Yikes.
So-
Well, one last super chat from our guy Davon, who said if the TMNT pizza is not in New York, it's Fugazi, inauthentic, with a hashtag Go Ninja Go.
Go Ninja Go. Thank you, Davon. We
I'm gonna have
appreciate
that
it.
song stuck in my head.
Go
Thank
Ninja,
you.
go Ninja. Go.
As
Yeah,
always,
it's a
go
classic.
check it out and see what the menu looks like from the TMNT Pizza Shop opening up in Los Angeles this summer. Let's get to the world famous roll call.
Thank you, everyone,
Friday.
for being here today. A fun Friday talking about players that absolutely no one in the chat wants to draft, apparently. But we talked about a lot of different types of guys at this point. We have a sense of what the board is. We're just having a little fun. Thank you, as always, to all our friends. Thank you to Vincent James, Larry K, SB Cole, Mr. James, Sid 2010, the good fella, Aqua Giraffe.
Where you been?
In the building.
We missed you.
Schoolboy with the super chats. Mr. Sandman with
Bring
the super
me a
chats.
dream.
Did anybody else super chat today? Bree, can you check for me real quick? Just those two. Thank you guys very much. Thank you also to Kyle Wright, Phil W., Green Eyed Bandit, Marley, Between and Unseen.
Between and Unseen, it's the weekend. Have at it.
Antoine, who I believe was dropping some turtle knowledge in the chat about what those weapons say about what the turtles all needed to be prepared for in life.
Okay.
Look at that. Thank you to Terrence Knights 3-time, The Question 1999, Ray Need, Ramid, Jada Jungle, AA Ron, X-Man Theo, FNE 21, Yo Q!
What up, Q?
Eugene Ross, Greeny Green, E-Train 9, Mello, Brian Knight, Kyle Wright,
Mello,
Danny
my man.
Delator, Ramid, again, who was autocorrected as Rammed. Yams, Constantine, Weebay, great character on The Wire.
The Wire,
By the
man.
way, Weebay had a lot of funny thoughts throughout the show today.
Yeah, he did.
Thank you to my girl Nona, to Jazz, to Jess, to Hedfa,
Hey, ladies.
to Vincent Pellegrini, to Mom's grandchildren. What's up to Mom? Thank you to everybody. Marcus Blackstock, of course. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. If I didn't get to you, it's not because I don't like you. It's because I didn't see your name or there are just too many names to get through. Nothing personal. Thanks for being here on the way out. To say thank you, to say we love you, just hit the thumbs up button on this video. It takes a quick second and makes a big difference for this show and the whole company. And it says thank you to super producer Bree making it all happen. Also hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you get notifications each and every time we go live. As these guys said, we got a bunch of interviews and extra content coming out over the weekend and next week. Coaches from college teams, Tim Legler, keep an eye out for those. We'll be back for a live show next Monday at 3 p.m. next week. Heavy draft season again, but we'll see what else is out there. Maybe the finals will be over. Maybe Giannis will get traded and more rumors will come out.
Because they keep saying before the draft.
We shall see what's going to happen. And by the way, USA World Cup action starts tonight. We'll be locked in on that. Well, Devon won't, but I probably will. So
Derek, you locked
Derek
in?
probably won't either.
Bree, you locked in?
USA Paraguay, big one tonight. I probably won't even be. I think I'll get kicked out of my house if I watch that tonight with no finals on. So until next time, everybody have a great weekend. Stay safe. Take care of one another. Goodbye, everybody.
See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.